Welcome back to the Future Leaders podcast, where we help you gain insights into the minds of successful business owners. Today we're joined here with a special guest who is making his moves in the crypto industry in trading, turning limitations to leverages, challenges to character. I'd like to formally introduce Stewart Crown. Thanks so much for coming on.
No worries, thanks man, really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. It's awesome. So for someone who doesn't know who Stewart Crown is, who is Stewart Crown and what do you do?
So Stewart Crown, obviously, he's a great man. What I love to do is I work in the blockchain or crypto world, for lack of a better term. Really enjoy it. I've been doing it now for 12 years. I love helping people, so I've managed to achieve a certain level of financial freedom. So now that my way of giving back is to educate people in the space and how to get that freedom, that passive income, or develop a love for this technology that it's been so disruptive for the world.
Amazing.
So you touched on financial freedom, which is a massive point there, because each person kind of has their own interpretation as to what freedom really is. Can you explain a little bit as to what freedom is like for yourself?
Yeah, look, I like to buy. Most people spend their time, or they use their time for money. I like to buy back my time. Crypto's allowed for me to do that. I can be anywhere at any time and developing that income, so I don't have to be geologically locked to a 9 to 5. Most people get up in a job they don't like. With me, it's a little bit different. I've been able to achieve that freedom where, in my opinion, is that I can do what I want when I want.
Yeah. So what does a day-to-day look like for you? If you're working from the laptop, are we working 24/7, or are you kind of changing, doing a bit of 50-50?
Yeah, look, if I'm traveling, things get a little bit more, skeleton-like, where I get to enjoy a bit more of my free time. But a day-to-day life, when I'm just with my family, is I wake up, I'll check the charts, I'll assess what's happening in the market, any news that's come out, and I'll try and leverage that to, benefit from it out of the market and produce income from it.
For sure.
I just want to pull it back real quick. For someone who doesn't know, what is crypto?
Yeah.
So what is it?
Okay, so crypto, as we would have heard all the buzzwords online, people are making all this big money and all that. Crypto is a disruptive technology. It's a new way of looking at the financial system. It makes it easier, more accessible, and a lot less, the way that people can disrupt it, or in the sense of governments can't touch it. We're freedom. We've got freedom with our own money again. We're not restricted into what we can and can't do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'd love to know, what was the journey like to get you to sitting in this seat today? What was the younger Stewart thinking? And if you could tell your younger self something now, what would that be?
Go harder.
Yeah.
Go even harder. I wish I had have gone harder. Don't listen to other people. If you truly believe in something, never stop and go as hard as you possibly can. Give it 110%.
Yeah.
If I hadn't listened to some of even my mentors about crypto, I would be even more better off than what I am now. So, if you love it, focus on it, give it your all, and don't stop.
When did you find crypto? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, it was so. I think the better question is, like, what made it such a pivotal point for me to assess whether or not this is something I want to do, is that 2013, crypto was still around the $150 Australian mark. Someone came to me and said, "Have you heard about this?" I said, "No," and I looked into it, and there was a movie my mother told me about. She watched in the 70s and said, "One day we'll all have digital credits." Credit cards were the first, in the 80s were the first step. And then when I saw that, I thought, here it is, it's finally here. I'm going to give it my all. It just really resonated with me. And I thought, this is something, when I looked into it, I could make my own money at home with a computer. Why wouldn't you,
Yeah, I've always been curious. So everyone's like, oh, I got a chance to buy Bitcoin at $2 and I thought it was a scam. It was all this and that. What was the process to actually buy cryptocurrency back then, because of how accessible it is now, with all the exchanges and app as simple as just click a buy, click sell? What did that look like back in 2015 in the early days?
That's a really good question, right? Because I know that so many people are extremely skeptical of crypto, even what it is now. So probably buying it back then, it would have been so completely different. So what did it look like?
I was told I was insane. I was absolutely insane. But there was, the landscape back then wasn't as plug and play where you could download an app on your phone. It was very much, you had two ways of doing it. You had to buy it from somebody else, or you had to mine it out of your own computer. You had to use your computer to do mathematical equations that you or I wouldn't be able to sit here and do in a day. It was doing a multitude of them, and you were receiving in return Bitcoin. But there was only two cryptocurrencies back then. There was Bitcoin and Litecoin. And you could mine them with your computer, or you had to buy them through someone else. So you had to go online to a service. I don't even think the service is available anymore. It's called Local Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you had to go and, like eBay, contact somebody. I want to buy $200 worth. No worries, here's my payment process. And then they had a review system. So just like eBay, you would go through their reviews and make sure they were safe to purchase from.
So similar to, let's say, how the precious metals industry works. Like, you can hold the bullion, but in reality, you've still got to buy it off somebody else or some entity to actually receive it.
Correct, yeah. It was more just, rather than be a registered person, it was just Joe Blow on the internet who had actually crypto that you could buy. So there was still a lot of scams back then as well. But at the time, it was more just the computer engineers' money.
It's actually interesting because I didn't even know that Litecoin was like an establishing kind of coin. So I'm curious, how come Bitcoin done so well in comparison to Litecoin if they both were that starting type of coin?
User-ability. Litecoin was there. It did have a small value, but more people were using Bitcoin as a form of payment, therefore making it more popular. So it grew a lot quicker.
What was the sentiment like during that time in 2013, 2015 when you were buying? Or what was it like from your perspective? Were you like nervous to get into it? So you were excited for the opportunity, but actually purchasing it, started making money from it. The other people inside, like, what was the crypto market like during that time?
And how much Bitcoin did you buy?
I originally bought an initial investment of around $9,000 worth of Bitcoin when it was $150 a coin. So
and now it's at 110.
Yes, that's right. It peaked out at the 160 mark a couple of weeks ago. So obviously I've sold some over time and bought some back. So there's, it's not as if I bought that initial investment and held it all the way. Some people have. But at the time, it was very much, I just bought Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin? So crypto wasn't even a buzzword. Now you can say crypto and people just instantly associate it. At the time, there was no one talking about it.
You touched on scams before. I heard that word and light bulb went off. There's a lot of these gurus out there, crypto gurus for lack of better words. What differentiates you from the people that have that bad stereotype of the crypto world?
Yeah, so I'm completely transparent, just like the crypto technology. It's transparent in its transactions. If you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the double side of it. I'm not going to sit here. A lot of gurus will sit here and say, buy this, do that, or this is going to make you 100% per month. I don't tell you that. I'll tell you the double side. If you get into this, you have to stay consistent. And with that consistency, you'll generate a passive income. You might make 100% one month, you might make 10 the next. I like to bring people back to reality with it. It's just like any other investment class in my mind, and that you need to stick with it. You need to focus on it, understand it. I find a lot of people are a lot more inclined to jump in and learn about it once they've already purchased it. Once they've got skin in the game, then they're willing to learn, how does this work?
I think it's also like how understanding and authentic you are, because I remember when I first met you when we were out traveling for crypto, and it was so new to me, and even though I wasn't like paying you sat down with me and you took your time kind of explaining everything. You went through like the baby steps, and now I have a decent understanding, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be like in that position. Now, we were traveling and doing all this stuff with crypto, which has been huge. And I just want to talk about like a bit more like of your journey, because I know you've spoken on shows, you've traveled for crypto, you're doing a lot of big things. What is that like, and what have you done?
Well, it was transformative in my life. I've traveled good parts of the world. I've seen some amazing people. I've spoken about crypto all over the place. Some people are a lot more inclined, other people aren't to it. But, in the last 3 years, that's when things have really taken off. We had that hype of 2021 that really got a lot of people in. And if I talk to people and I sort of do a bit of a calculation of how many people, you've got these major pivotal points that people have got in. And it's always when the market is up. So they're always buying in when the market's going crazy. That's when they're learning about it. And then they're realizing it's just like a lot of other market cycles. They're sitting back and going, all right, now I have to learn. I've put money in, it's gone up, I've seen how it can work for me. Now it's gone back. I need to learn more about this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Like, personally, I got in straight after COVID and the market just bottomed out.
Yeah.
So what, 23rd of March, I think that was the bottom of the entire stock market of the declared pandemic, and what that looks like. So even then, it's just a common theme, like at maximum fear is where you have like everything's on sale. And then when everybody's talking about it, that's when you really need to look at selling and what's going on there. So how would you potentially, I don't know, recommend some of your mindset tips to try and overcome that, those certain decisions that you have to make?
Yeah. So look at the technology. If you want to sort of break through the barriers, especially someone like yourself who's going through their first bear market, is understand market cycles. That was something I didn't know as well. And there's a saying as well, is that bull markets will make you money. Bear markets will make you money. Sorry, I'll say that again. Bull markets will make you money. Bear markets will make you rich.
Just quickly, for those who don't know what a bear and a bull market is, can you just explain that really quickly?
Yeah, so the market will go through cycles, and you'll see that. Any commodities, you'll see them go through cycles of prosperity, then downturn. And we always see, what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
What goes down must come up. But the market will have these cycles every 2-3 years where things just go crazy, and you'll see them go up 200%, 300%. And people are jumping in once it's already moving up.
Yeah.
The idea is when there's blood in the street, or it's hardest then to invest when it's crashing. When everyone's saying it's crashing, that's when you should be buying and waiting, especially if you're going to sit it out for a couple of years. Historically, anybody who's sat on crypto for 3 years has made money, whether it be a small amount or a lot.
So what are the fundamental tips that people can take away and implement to make money with crypto?
Biggest thing is learn about its history, for one. Understand what problem it's going to solve. Like Jeff Bezos says, I only invest in things that solve a problem. If it can solve a problem, which mine is the velocity in which we can transact money and information to one another. So if there's a blockchain or a crypto that can solve those problems, I'm more willing to invest into it. Stay consistent and keep up to do, at this stage in crypto, keep up to date what the lawmakers are doing. See what they're doing, because announcement on say, the Bitcoin reserve we saw Trump bring out with a couple of weeks ago, that caused a few coins to spike, especially the ones he mentioned. That caused them to spike up. So keeping up to date with information, understanding the history, and just staying consistent and get into it. There's no better time.
What do you think about AI and how that's starting to get integrated with crypto in this kind of space? We're seeing a lot of really good products come out now with crypto. It's like AI and crypto have come together. There's a lot of false projects, a lot of people that are going nowhere. So a lot of startups are actually looking for capital rather than going the conventional needs of angel investors or venture capitalists. They're making their own crypto token, getting a few million. That's helping perpetuate their project. But how it's looking now is that it will do all sorts of things for us in the crypto space. We've seen AI trading bots that are coming out now, which are great. They can assess information a lot quicker. I think the landscape with AI and crypto in the next 5 years alone is going to be absolutely phenomenal in what we can do. We're going to see a lot more, like I mentioned, when in 2013 there wasn't much plug and play. We're going to see a lot more plug and play when it comes to you developing money with AI out of it. I'd love to know your opinion on this kind of controversial subject. Would you say that crypto is gambling?
Anything's gambling. You could argue that getting out of bed is gambling. Getting in your car every day is gambling. Buying conventional stocks, everyone say, you need to build yourself a portfolio. Buy bank shares, buy ASICs, all those sort of ASX shares. It's just like that. It's just it is a higher risk, yes, but anything in the investment world has an inherent risk to it.
100%.
Yeah, I know a lot of people within the community are looking to get into crypto. What are a few things that you reckon people should steer clear of and that people should look out for?
Depending on the caliber of person and who they are, I'd recommend straight away when you get in the industry, stay away from your ultra high risk investments like your meme coins and your
I made a couple mistakes with those.
your Pepes, all that sort of stuff. Stay away from them. build a strong portfolio. Look at the top 10 cryptos, start building a portfolio. Two things are happening. You're getting into the market and you're building your knowledge base as well.
Would you recommend like what you kind of taught me, as in like a dollar cost averaging?
Yep. So there's like I mentioned, there's double side coin to everything, and dollar cost averaging is the easiest and most effective way, because a lot of people don't have $10,000 to chuck every week on coins, or $10,000 to throw in there. Dollar cost averaging is the most conservative way to get in the market with a small amount over time to build a portfolio.
Explain what dollar cost averaging is for someone that's potentially watching this video and isn't necessarily understanding what it is, and they've come to you for information.
And if you can just expand on that as well, is what are the different investing types?
100%.
How does that work? And then what are the pros and cons of each different?
Yeah. So you've got, dollar cost averaging for the first question is, it's buying small increments rather than buying a large amount, trying to pick when the market's at its top or bottom. We're buying increments over time, and we're not worried about whether it's at its top or bottom.
Okay.
So as the stock or as the crypto rises, you're buying it in at an average price.
Yeah.
You're not buying it in and trying to pick the tops or the bottoms all the way through, and you're just slowly building it. It's a bit of a set and forget strategy.
Yeah.
Then you've got the lump sum investor. Overall, that can be effective, like 29% more effective, but a lot of people don't have that option.
Yeah.
So
Also, it can be a lot more risky if it then dumps.
exactly. Yeah. So at least then, as the stock's going up over a year, you're buying it at an average price as it ascends. Yeah.
Would you call like short trading as well in that investment sphere? Is that something different?
Well, then you move into like the leverage trader. You're leveraging your purchasing power. Now that comes with a lot more inherent risk into it. That'll take a lot more training, understanding of the markets. Dollar cost averaging, you can take $25, $50, $100 a week, whatever it may be. Put it into one asset, have it automate to buy 5 of them for you,
And just start building a
and
portfolio.
just build it every week.
Yeah, I love it. So if someone was to start getting started, how do you recommend? How can someone get started in buying in the crypto space?
Oh yeah, come speak to me, obviously. No.
Yeah.
So getting into it is just first things first. Learn about it. Make sure you're buying it through reputable services. If someone texts you on WhatsApp that you've never seen before and says, "Hey, I've got a great opportunity," probably avoid that.
It's legit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what. I've seen many people think that. Sometimes their greed is, bigger than they'll just see dollar signs where it's like, hey, once they put their money into it, then they'll go looking and go, ooh.
And I love the fact, sorry to cut you off, that you've pulled me up on that before, because there's been a time where I pulled out of the market on a coin, and I was disappointed because I was like, damn it, if I just stayed in for another week longer, I could have made $1,000. And that's where you're like, Kyle, that's what you need, like, not be greedy in that sense.
Great.
Take what you can and kind of like go off that. I think that's great.
In a market where 80 to 90% of people lose money, you won the game.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be like should have, could have, would have, you got out at the position that you said you were going to do. You followed your plan, and that's what's important.
Yeah. So for people listening and getting started, what exchanges do you recommend, and how do you think they should like store their currencies?
Yeah. Okay. So this is not an endorsement. This is just what I use as well. So I've got no affiliates with these exchanges. I like Kraken. As they're great. They bought a company in Australia about 6 years ago called BTC Australia, which made it accessible for Australians. I'd also recommend Bybit if you want to do the leverage trading and move towards the DeFi space. And then if you've got DeFi wallets or digital wallets that you hold on your phone, you can use MoonPay, but in saying that, you will pay a little bit more than if you use an exchange. But my two picks would be Kraken. And
what about like Crypto.com or CoinSpot?
Yeah, Crypto.com's good, but if you want a lot more added features in how to earn more passive income or take your assets and make something with
those are your biggest recommendations.
They're my two biggest.
Okay.
So what does that mean by making something and getting more passive income, leveraging what the exchanges has? What does that actual process look like?
So when people buy crypto, they're buying it at a certain price. Let's say you bought Solana at $110, and now you're just waiting for it to go up. That's all you're doing. It's not multiplying. It's not really working for you. You're just expecting someone else to buy it at a higher price than you. We can take that crypto and we can move that over and actually develop a yield. So you're getting paid at almost a dividend on your crypto. So as it increases in value, you're getting more and more crypto, which in turn is growing in value.
How do I do that?
Yep. So you use the exchange. They've got what's called earn features or staking, which is just another word. Staking is a new word for term deposit. But unlike a term deposit, we don't have to wait 3 months to get our, to get our payback from it. We can be paid weekly. I've actually seen some exchanges pay it on the hourly, but obviously with a small amount, you're only going to get a small back in return. If you've got that small amount, you want to pay it out weekly. Then it's something coming in. It's growing wealth over time.
Yeah.
How do I leverage that to make the most amount of money? Because staking, I believe you can't sell once it's staked, right?
That's correct. So you've got bonded and flexible accounts. Flexible meaning that I can put it into that account, pull it back out straight away. Bonded meaning that I can put it in there. It'll take 7 days to activate, however long the bonding period is. And then when I want to get it out, I have to wait 7 days before it returns to me. So if you wanted to leverage it, you can go down the avenue of trading it and automating your trade system, which is really good. Bybit have a really good feature called Aurora AI, which will do a lot of the work for you. Obviously, you need to do something with it as well. You need to set in your parameters, but it'll do a lot of the work with the volatility. So you can actually be generating a passive income on autopilot.
And where would I use staking in the market? Because if I buy low, then ideally try and sell higher than that. Is that a better strategy, or is staking a longer term, better strategy longer term? If I have to wait 7 days to actually sell and make some money off the selling.
Yeah. So if you want to stake your funds, you're more the person who's sitting on it for a little while. You're not gonna, if you want to actually utilize it and trade it back and forth, you keep it in a wallet. But if you're someone who goes, all right, I'm going to dollar cost average this and let it grow, I'm going to make sure I stake it as well. That'd be a longer term sort of play for yourself. Yeah.
There we go, like the bear market, or do you do it in the bull market as well?
Look, you can do it through the bull market. Obviously, what's going up, will come down. But if you're buying all the way up and then you don't sell and it crashes, then you're still dollar cost averaging, and then taking a time over the next 2 years before you're waiting for it to grow. Like, we're looking at longer term plays in building a portfolio. You're looking at 2-3 years, and then it doesn't really come into whether, if you look at the 2-3 year mark, you're not looking at, am I in a bull market, am I in a bear market? You're just buying in. And that is a double side coin to dollar cost averaging, which I didn't touch on, was that if you're buying into an asset on average and the price is going down, you're still losing money.
Yeah.
You got to wait for that bottom out or accumulation phase, and that's when you start really going hard at it, because it ain't getting any lower and it's looking to start moving higher.
Taking a step back to the exchanges question, obviously the biggest downfall would have been FTX, the big exchange that went down, the massive American exchange. What's your opinion on what happened and what went down there, and just the importance of how important it is to not keep it inside of an exchange?
Yeah, so we've got to look at the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. Look, I don't want to rag on him, but he knew he was doing the wrong thing when he had so much worth of money in there. I think they were treating it a lot more like a fractionalized banking system where they had, $9 billion worth of funds, of people's funds sitting in the account. Now, if there was a run on that and people were trying to withdraw, he only had 900 million actually to pay everyone out. So that's a real problem, and that was inherently their downfall. They were campaigning politically. They were doing a lot of things that really, in my opinion, were a bit sus, and that led to their downfall. That's why I like Kraken, because they got a proof of audit. You can actually go through as an individual and audit them, make sure they've actually got what they say they've got.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Cool. So why is crypto so special? Because I know, like, obviously with, basically instantaneous transfers or whatever you classify it as, like even what you're saying about to me last night about the largest transaction in, seconds. What's that like, and why is it so special?
Yeah, so crypto to me, why it's so special, it's so disruptive. It's like the internet in the late 90s. You guys are a bit young for that, but there was what was called the dot-com boom, and right now crypto, in my opinion, is a bit of a dot-com boom. Like all these currencies and everything we see now, there won't be that many around in 10 years' time. If we look at if history does repeat itself, like with the dot-com boom, the internet was revolutionary. We all use it every day. It's on our phones. We can do whatever we want. I believe this technology is just as disruptive. But in saying that, it's a lot of it's not going to be here in 10 years' time. There's going to be regulation. If we look at the dot-com boom, there were over 2,000 different operating systems in 1998. By 2001, there were 3. So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
A lot of it's going to go away. But why it's so special is that it's, again, disruptive, but it solves a lot of problems in the sense of hackability, proof of provenance, ownership, oversight. Being decentralized, there's no one governing body. We, the people, deem its price.
So do you think there'll be like 3 or 5 like specific top coins that will stay?
I believe so. Especially if we see now that things are happening. Like, I never perceived there'd be a Bitcoin reserve in America 12 years ago when I started. Now we're seeing that. We can look at those coins from the top.
Bitcoin reserve.
A Bitcoin reserve. That's right.
Do you think the big banks here in Australia will start moving into like the crypto space and holding crypto inside their own apps?
Yeah, I do believe that. We've seen banks in Australia, I won't name who, but we have seen banks in Australia very much look into it.
Yeah.
But then it just it wasn't quite there yet. But I think we are.
Is this the company we were speaking about last night?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So, they should. I won't name them. Yeah. But they were looking very, very heavily into it, and then they just pulled away from it. So it's telling me that they are interested.
Yeah.
From what I hear out of America, big banks have been able to, purchasing it up for a little while.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's coming. It's just what are people not talking about?
Yeah.
That's what we've got to look at. Like, look at the overall fundamental of, okay, not just where do I perceive it, what facts are in place to support that.
Cool. Let's dig really deep now. What, as a first time investor in crypto, what do I need to do, and what do you recommend for me to build up my portfolio? So like you've mentioned, like the Kraken account, I should create a Kraken account potentially. Invest in the top 10 coins. What sort of spread am I looking at there? Dollar cost averaging, is that what you recommend? Like, let's go through that.
Yeah. So as a brand new person who knows nothing, who really wants to get into it, find yourself a reputable exchange, something that's quite easy for you to access. Then go in, build an understanding of, okay, these are the coins like you mentioned, and then just start buying them with what you can afford to lose. Don't go, if you've only got $10,000 to your name, don't take $10,000 and put it into crypto. I wouldn't advise that at all. Again, not financial advice, but this is the process that I took along the way. I've made my mistakes as well. It wasn't as if I walked in and everything was perfect, but find your way to take your fiat currency or Australian tender and move it into crypto or digitize it, and then build that portfolio. Because once you get in there, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to have skin in the game. And that's going to make you want to learn more. Yeah.
You were saying about, putting in what you're able to lose. Is there like a certain amount you recommend, like percentage wise? Let's say I've got $10,000. Do you recommend putting in 5% or like $500? What part of my savings do you think is a good place to start?
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend it. That would be financial advice. But what I would say is what I would do is if I had $10,000, I'd be putting $50 a week into crypto. One, I'm keeping my cash holdings there, and 2, I'm slowly building that portfolio for growth over time. So by the time that I've invested that $10,000, I've watched it actually grow up, and it's like, it's $15,000 by the time I've finished investing the whole lot.
Yeah, and Kyle, it also comes down to your personal risk profile as well. So, someone who can just chuck $50 every now and then, some people may feel more inclined to put $100 instead of the 1,000. So the 10% instead of 5%. It comes down to the personal risk profile, but obviously some people may put it all in and say, it's all or nothing. I can make back 10 grand in a couple of weeks. Comes down to your income as well. There's lots of certain, factors for that.
Do you know if the American casinos are taking crypto yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Do you reckon Australia and America will go into that space?
Once it becomes more mainstream, hell yeah. You'll be able to walk in and say, make your transaction. Here's your playing chips. Yeah.
What's your opinion, speaking about the casinos, of all these online casino spaces at the moment in the crypto world?
Stay the frick away from them. You're going to wreck yourself. All you're doing is you're using conventional, or you're paying crypto now for conventional gambling.
Yeah.
And as we know, the house always wins.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've seen, and there's a lot of dodgy ones out there. I've seen some people win big, and then if you read through the terms and conditions, you can't actually withdraw the funds.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, just stay away from gambling. As an investor,
Yeah.
going to the casino, I don't play slot machines. I used to love playing poker. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And again, it's just learning what you mentioned about risk profile.
You win some, you lose more.
Sounds like you've got that under wrap, mate.
I watch too much NRL, bro.
But go on.
I was gonna say, like, what are some coins that we should be investing in for the first time average investor?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so if I was coming into the market, I'd be looking at, you know, top 3 coins first. I'd be looking at my Bitcoin as, you know, a long term. I like to break it down to a low, medium, and high risk. What's in my low risk? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. And then I move into my medium risk. That'll be where I move over to my altcoins, where I'm looking at, you know, XRP, Algo, Pyth, all those a bit more higher risk profiles. Obviously a lot more, you know, bigger the risk, bigger the reward.
Yeah.
And then I move to my high risk profile coins, which are going to be, you know, my Pepes, my SHIB, my Doge, things that don't actually have a freaking utility or solve a problem, but have a lot of internet hype. Or stupid money, as I call it, go into it.
How do you catch, for those meme coins, how do you catch those hypes? Because there's been a few times where, you know, you see, you know, just a chill guy go absolutely viral on social media. That coin absolutely pikes, but then I jump on the exchange and then now it's on its downfall. And I've missed it because it's already gone viral. How do you keep an eye out for all these coins?
Yeah, so I want to touch on that as there's a lot of space at the moment. It's called the trenches. With the meme coin space.
What a great name.
And that's exactly what it is that and speed is the name of the game.
Yeah.
You have to be quick. Like a lot of these people who are buying with their wallets or waiting for it to go to an exchange, by the time it goes to an exchange, the hype's already gone, man. It's just the exchange money. It's the point of least resistance. To buy these meme coins, we have to have an understanding of how to use DeFi, how to transact on the blockchain. By the time you see it on an exchange, mate, there's millions of dollars already gone into it. That you're just exit liquidity at this point in my mind.
Yeah.
Would you classify this new coin, Daddy Coin, as a meme coin?
That's Tate's coin?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I understand what Tate's trying to do, and he's done really well. Out of it, I liked how he was actually burnt a lot of the supply.
Yeah.
Therefore, you know, making it deflationary.
Making more money for
Yeah,
the people.
yeah, that's right. There was less supply and same demand, helping raise the price. And what he's trying to do with his own community, I respect that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily solve a problem yet, but you know he's had a good launch. A lot of his community have made money, which are great. I'd love to see the real world token when it comes out and how he's actually utilizing it with his platform that you can buy and sell, or you can buy programs, you can use it on the platform.
Well, let's touch on that quickly, because I know there was a lot of controversy back in, I think, 2021, where all the banks shut down his bank accounts. Can you touch on how you think crypto will move into the future, and potentially having its own kind of like banking system for yourself?
Well, I think we look into more regulation.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West. And we touched on meme coins. That is just the slums of the Wild West. That's even more insane. But more regulation. You mentioned Tate's, you know, accounts being shut down and everything. The good thing is that he had crypto. If he had any money in his crypto wallet, he could still go to OTC or over-the-counter providers. Here's $100 grand. There's $100 grand cash, so he still had access to it.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, the brothers, they don't have bank accounts at the moment, and the banks are being quite, you know, nasty with it all. So I'm sure they've got their ways of accessing funds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so taking it back to those exchanges, I want to go back to what Carl was saying with the meme coins. How do you catch them? So obviously there's options to buy real early on, you know, a little bit, you know, not worse exchanges, but when they're a bit more volatile, like Uniswap, MEXC. Like, what is your opinion when it comes to that? Because obviously you got to do Ethereum swap mostly for those exchanges.
Yeah.
It's like an all or nothing play, really, right?
Oh, to a degree. Like, you've got to go in, you've got to be smart. So the strategy we're seeing is that you need to have a couple of things in place. You need to have a good wallet provider, one that's going to front run you with your transactions. So if you put a transaction, it's just not put into a list, it's putting you up the top. You have to be quick with like a Twitter analyzer. So when big accounts are coming out, it automatically tells you of a contract address.
Interesting.
You've got a Snipe wallet, which it's a separate wallet to any other of your wallets, which you use for meme coins. Which at the moment it comes out, you've got the contract address. Bang. So there's one that I like to use that if I know a big name is about to release a contract address or a token, I'll put their user handle into it, how much Solana I want to put into the token. So the moment it releases, I'm in the market. I'm not hanging around, because you can see these coins when they're released. They'll go from 10K to $1 million in an hour.
Yeah.
It's so insane.
Yeah, but what they'll actually do is they'll put a low amount in at the lower cap, so they're not risking a lot, because as we know, there's a high risk to it. They can go to zero, they can be rug pulled where money's taken away from everyone, all liquidity's gone, and they'll actually put $25 in. And as it starts to rise from that low price, they'll start taking 25%. These big accounts, where you see them actually, I put $38 in, they pulled out 1 million. You'll have a look at one transaction when it buys in, and 638 transactions when they bought out. So they're just they're selling the whole way out. At any point it can collapse. They've still taken their profits along the way. So there's definitely a whole new strategy around doing this that younger people and other people are adopting now to actually make money. But again, speed is the name of the game. You've got to have the correct tools. Have your Telegram bots that will buy it for you, front run you, have your Twitter analyzers, all that sort of stuff, and you've got to be glued to the screen.
Yeah.
So it's very high intensity. If you had to put it down to any type of conventional trading strategy, it'd be like ultra intraday trading with super exotic asset class.
And in regard to wallets, I see you I'm not sure if it's purposeful or not. You haven't mentioned MetaMask, which is one of the biggest streamlined, online transactional wallets, which you most likely will hook up to a lot of these different things.
Yep.
Is MetaMask secure in your opinion?
It is, but again, I've moved more to Phantom Wallet.
Yep.
I can integrate everything from a MetaMask into my Phantom Wallet, and Phantom is again integratable into Ledger, a cold storage device.
Yeah.
So it makes it brings that physicality to the digital world. I'd recommend Phantom over MetaMask nowadays. There are some advantages to MetaMask that Phantom don't have, but again, there are some advantages Phantom have that MetaMask don't have. 5 years ago, we could only use really MetaMask a lot of the time. That was the only integration it had. Now Phantom has been pretty much integrated in all Web3 access. Yeah, so that's why I haven't touched on MetaMask, because I find them falling behind a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You touched on cold wallets. What is that?
So a cold wallet is, you've got a hot and you've got a cold wallet. Hot wallet being one that you can transact in and out very, very quickly. And then you've got a cold storage wallet where it just sits there. You put money into it, but to get it out, you actually have to have the physical device connected to a computer. You'll make a transaction, you actually have to press a button on the side to confirm it. A bit more of a process, but a lot safer in the long term of keeping larger funds. If you've got $1,000, keep it in your hot wallet. You got over $10,000, keep it in cold storage. Then anybody, if there's human error, a lot of the time it's human error when people's wallets get drained or they've done something, they've connected to a malicious site. If you keep things in your cold storage, that won't happen. It's human error on hot wallets as to why they get drained.
Do you use cold wallets, and do you have any recommendations where we should
Yeah, so I use cold wallets. I've used a multitude of them. I've actually invested early in on a couple of them when they were starting up. But the pick of the litter for me right now is Ledger or EliPal. I'd recommend Ledger over EliPal. EliPal being that it looks a lot like a smart device. It's very user friendly. Ledger I like because I've been using them for so many years, and I've got that integrated, the ability to integrate my Phantom wallet, my hot wallet into there. So I use my Phantom wallet a lot to connect to sites, buy meme coins, transact, do yield, all that sort of stuff. And I like that I can integrate it into my cold wallet. I haven't seen a feature on any other wallet that allows me to do that.
So just touching on that, last night when we were speaking to you personally, you were saying about storing, your crypto and where to buy these devices from. Can you just touch on that, where you recommend buying them from, and that story you told me about Amazon? Because I found that really interesting. And I thought that'd be really cool to hear.
Yeah, so I buy a Ledger. When you're buying a cold storage wallet, don't buy it through a third party like Amazon, eBay, or any type of things like that. Go directly to the manufacturers or the people, the name. Like, so you go to the Ledger website. You know, being in Australia, we order it from France. It really doesn't take that long. It takes like 10 days to get to you. For a while there, what people were doing, if you bought it through Amazon, and they've got this returns policy, and I've seen all sorts of return scams with Amazon over the years. People were buying these Ledger wallets, getting them, opening them up, taking the data cables out of them, and putting a keylogger data cable inside and sending it back. So as far as Amazon were concerned, it's still a good product, they just didn't want it. They were reselling it, people were using it, and it was just logging all their data and then clearing out their wallets. So
crazy.
So now when you buy it from Ledger, you'll actually see when you open it, it's got a security tag on it. It's all security sealed. It's just as important. So make sure you keep that, safe. That's, if it does get stolen, there are ways around it because of our seed phrases, our 12-word phrase. That's more important. So if you keep that seed phrase hidden away from the world, never show anybody. Because if you show someone, they've got complete access to your wallet. So even if you did lose it or someone broke into your house and stole it, they didn't have your seed phrase, you could just open your wallet again on a new device with the same seed phrase.
How does that work? Walk me through. How do I remember my seed phrase? Where should I store it to keep it safe? How do I keep it?
So one, you're not going to remember it. It's a 12-word phrase.
Unless you're Isaac.
Hey, I was thinking put it in a stone tabloid, bury it in your garden somewhere, and then
He's got laminate, engrave it, anything.
So that's right. So you can laminate, you can engrave it. If you laminate, keep it in your fireproof safe. It is just as important as your passport, if not more. Like that is your access to your funds. It's like giving someone your wallet out of your back pocket. Your leather wallet and going, here you go, just hold this for me, and expecting nothing bad to happen. So keep that seed phrase written down. You don't have to memorize it. There are devices out there that you can lock it away in. Don't take screenshots. Don't save it on iCloud or Google Drive. They're points of vulnerability. If someone gets access to them, write them down. Personally, write them down. Again, engrave them in metal. Carve it into a stone tablet, bury it in the garden, do those sort of things, but keep it safe as possible and make sure that it can't, deteriorate.
Let's say I was that dumbass that forgot it. Can I do anything?
Yeah. Why do I feel like you've done this?
He's like, theoretically, if I was a dumbass and I forgot my seed phrase, what can I do?
What about if you've even lost it too?
You're just screwed.
You are pretty much up a creek without a paddle on that one. It's that important.
What about that story you were telling me about that guy with Bitcoin?
Oh, when he's logged it. So there was a gentleman who got paid a large sum of Bitcoin when it was worth nothing, put it into a hard drive.
How much is a large sum?
Around 7,000 Bitcoin, from remember.
Which is now...
Which, from last time I saw the story, I haven't looked at it for a few years, but last time I saw the story would have been about 4 years ago, and it was about $400 million. He had in a hard drive that because he's a computer engineer, he'd programmed it, he'd encrypted it so well, and he put a 10 attempt password on it. So and he can't remember the password, and he had 3 attempts left last time I heard. And once he gets through all those, it wipes the drive and it's gone.
Imagine
forever.
that you've got 400 million plus on a hard drive that you can't access.
Yeah.
In hot take, you know how Elon Musk is able to use his stocks as collateral, technically never sell it. Is that still under his name? Would he technically be able to use that as leverage and collateral to buy houses, to do whatever? Or would he have to have proof of access to that?
Yeah, you'd have to have proof of access or put it into some sort of holdings that you control, not your keys, not your coin.
Yeah.
We're not there yet with crypto. But that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that mainstream adoption.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking on X, actually, and Elon Musk, I'm aware that Elon Musk is kind of in the midst of creating X payments. What coin do you personally think he's going to use for X payments?
He's going to be a smart ass and he's going to say Doge, and it's going to pump the price of Doge. But if he's going to use something, I think he will lean towards probably XRP. With what's going on and how he's connected with the government now, this is just assumption at this point without diving extremely deep into it, but they're going to want to have something that's pegged to the US dollar that they actually created or they own.
Yeah.
You might even see an X coin or something come out, but right now I'm just going to lean towards Doge.
Fair play.
Yeah.
That's
So.
fair enough. So I want to know, how does Stewart make money from someone more advanced in the crypto world?
Yep.
What do you do to let us know?
Yeah, so a big thing of what I do to make money is obviously I love my leverage trading. The guys were sitting here last night watching me do my thing. And
How much did you make last night? Just to
You weren't
touch on
just
that?
doing your thing.
Yeah, you weren't just doing your
I
thing.
I was setting up the studio, testing cameras and mics, and you were sitting here making how much?
so yeah, 34 minutes of trades. It was just over 10 grand in the back
In
pocket.
34 minutes, and people go like 3 months, 4 months,
Yeah.
slaving away, 9 to 5 every week.
Yeah, so look, it took time to get there, but just
Because you know what you're looking for. That's the
exactly,
thing,
yeah. And I've built a capital
Yeah.
that allows me to do that very, very quickly. It wasn't if I found a coin that I put $10 into it. I did use a sum of my capital to make that money.
To be
Yeah.
fair, he turned around his computer last night to kind of show me what he was doing, and I went fucking cross-eyed looking at all the candles
Yeah.
and all the graphs that he's got.
I had a stroke just looking at the screen. I've got
Yeah.
5,000 numbers over here. There's green and red things, and I'm like, I had an aneurysm just trying to understand what was going on.
Yeah.
How? With that being said, how can you actually help someone decompress what they're looking at?
Yeah, so what you saw there was a complete setup. Like
Yeah.
somebody new coming to learn about that to make money from it, like myself. Like I start with the basics. We pretty much start with one screen. We understand a process.
Yeah.
Then we add on to that.
Yeah.
If I throw that to someone, it was pretty much looking at and drinking out of the hose. It was going all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend starting small and then we build on that knowledge. But how I make money is a couple of different things. Like I would like to take my crypto, my profits, and I like to move it to real world assets, buy property, all that sort of stuff, invest in businesses, take it to the real world. But what I really do to make money is leverage trade. I have investment portfolios with property, but in the crypto space, there's 3 main ones that I love: leverage trading, spot trading, liquidity pools. And that's where I generate most of my income
So
from.
how has that changed your life? How has crypto changed your life? You live in that laptop lifestyle. You're doing things on your own terms. How has your lifestyle changed? Like, without potentially giving numbers, what type of life are you living because of crypto?
Yeah, so originally, before I went hard into it, I was working 60, 80 hours a week, making that $1,300 paycheck, not surviving, spending 50% on rent. It's now changed my life to the point where I own my properties. I can travel the world when I want.
Yeah.
I can do everything on my own
You
terms.
can open that computer and make money if
Very much so, yeah. I can be anywhere.
I'm gonna pay for the hotel tonight. Give me 5.
Yeah, very much so. And taking that mindset as well of not going, look, I might have the money there to go buy a new motorcycle or whatever I may want to be buying, a new iPhone, whatever it is. I look at it and go, all right, how am I going to make the money to pay for this? straight away?
Yeah.
So then I'll jump on the charts and in 20 minutes I'll have it.
Yeah.
I love that. The 3 methods you make, though, the leverage, spot, and liquidity pools.
Liquidity, yeah.
Explain those 3.
Yeah, so leverage, we're obviously using if I take $1,000 and I'm leveraging, I'm increasing my purchasing power. So I'm times 10, times 100, whatever it may be. I don't recommend times 100 for most people, but if I take $1,000 and I times it by 10, I've now got $10,000 worth of purchasing power. As the market moves in a direction, if it moves in my direction 10%, I've just made $1,000. It's quite easy to do. Then we go to spot trading, where I actually use the asset. Where if I've got $1,000, or let's just say I do it with a larger account, a $50,000 account, I will buy it at a low, and I'll sell it at a higher price. So if I come in and go, hey, the market's a bit down today, it has to come back up, I'm going to buy in with 50,000 here, and then wait 10%. It's gone back up 10% by the end of the day. Sell out. There's $5,000 I've made, minus fees and stuff like that. Obviously, middlemen with exchanges. And then I go to liquidity pools. Now that is a bit more of an advanced strategy you need, where you're actually becoming what's called a market maker, and you are making the liquidity on the blockchain. You're supplying your asset in there, and as people trade it back and forth, instead of a fee going like when you exchange money through the banks for foreign currency, they take a fee. That's their payment for being the market maker. Now, me as the market maker, it's all automated in the crypto space. I provide the liquidity as people buy and sell it back. That fee that they're charged comes to me now, so it just generates passive income. I can sit back and just set and forget.
What's been your most successful trade? Like, you don't have to give numbers if you don't want to, but like, were you up 100%? Like, what's been the most successful trade for you?
You're gonna get a kick out of this one. It was just over a year ago. It was a meme coin called Wolf with Balls, and I put just on $1,000 in it and had a return of 23,000% in 2 hours.
In 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah, and it worked to my advantage, and it turned just on $1,000 Australian into $150,000 Australian in 2 hours.
Imagine that. Imagine saying you're worth $150,000 an hour.
That's crazy.
That is
So,
insane.
And obviously, you said like leverage, it's a very dangerous thing. Can we go into the education in terms of stop losses and the importance of stop losses, and just so you don't get margin called? And if you do have, let's say you decide to go all in 100x leverage, how important those stop losses are to just, for your financial viability.
It's absolute paramount that you always have a stop loss. Never take a trade without having a stop loss. With spot trading, it becomes a little risky because you can use stop losses. A lot of people don't, but you need to protect your capital. So you mentioned risk appetite before, or risk portfolio. Mine is 3% per trade. So if I have a $100,000 account, I put down $3,000 on the trade, and then if it moves towards my stop loss, it'll only close me out at $3,000. It protects my portfolio. So if I looked at it from a 1% perspective, which most new traders I recommend do, I have $100,000. It now takes me 247 wrong tries at 1% to actually go to critical loss on it, and I've never seen anyone make 247 consecutive wrong mistakes.
So, 21-year-old Stewart, way back then, what would he do now? If you had to go back to your 20s and restart to the exact position you're in now, what would you do?
Yep, I would pick up the books.
Yep.
Knowledge really is power. Pick up, watch as many podcasts as you can. Learn. I would go a lot harder doing now. If I had the time again, we all wish that. I would go harder at my knowledge building, and I'd focus a lot more on an 80-20 rule, where 80% of my wage goes into my investments, 20% comes to living. So you'd live very skimp. It's a saying of I'd spend 5 years like most people won't, so I can live a life like most people can't.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think a massive point you touched on is reinvesting back into education, which has been crazy because for so long, I remember growing up, it was always like buy your first property, buy assets, but now everyone's kind of going to the space where it's like buy back your time and buy back into your own education. Why do you think a lot of people are starting to move into the knowledge space rather than the physical product?
Yeah, it's because we're seeing a lot of 50 years ago it was great with a 9 to 5. It was absolutely awesome. You could work a job. I think I saw something the other day. It was your parents in the 80s earning 68k or 60k a year are on the equivalent of 185,000 now.
Yeah, wow.
That just shows you the disconnect, and people are looking for new avenues because, let's face it, the schooling system that we have or have built across the world, it creates an army of workers, not thinkers.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say don't look at the conventional going to school or picking up the books or letting them. They'll teach you reading, writing, arithmetic, but it's on you. Your knowledge, your gain, and your persistence in this world is on you. So you need to go out and learn aspects, learn business, learn how to do sales. That's the common factor with all millionaires. They know how to sell. Learn some skill sets that are actually going to be useful in your life. I've never seen a school that actually teaches how to manage a mortgage, how to treat equity. Everyone's got one, but they don't teach it.
Just quickly, what people do you recommend to listen to or to look out for, or what podcasts? Who should you who?
Yeah, credible
For
information.
people in their 20s looking to get into crypto and learn the education, learn everything they need to know about crypto, where do we start? Where would you recommend?
Oh, you know, you
Future Leaders podcast with
I was
Stewart
about
Crown.
to say, come to the Future Leaders podcast. Look, find reputable people online. You know, you've got your Luke Belmars and all that. They focus on different aspects. Find the big guys, and then work your way down the list. You know, there's names out there like Manta Brothers, Piscino Brothers, and you know, there's trading crews. There's hundreds of them. Try and find the guys that are really leading the way and that have the most popularity. There's a reason they are popular.
Just quickly,
Yep.
You're saying looking into that, but if someone who is a bit unsure, how do they differentiate someone who's trustworthy for someone who's going to take you for a ride?
Crypto gurus.
Yeah. So this is the age of the guru now, and I've never seen more people in the crypto space than ever before. Speak to them if you can talk to them. If they're messaging you over WhatsApp and you try and call them, and they say, "Oh, sorry, I can't." Like my one is, if I can't call you right now, let's book in a time to call. Let's book in a time to talk. I'd recommend starting with YouTube, just building your knowledge, finding people. It's going to be a bit of a dance around at first, but after about 3 to 4 months, you would have filtered out all the shit of people out there. And there are a lot of fakes out there. I've seen some really, really clever ways that they make it look legit. So unless they can show you a real page, so you'll see a lot of people show legitimacy when they're talking about crypto on the space. They'll have their phone, they'll be recording it, they'll actually refresh the page. If they can't show you that, where it's not a page refresh, it's usually it's more than likely fake.
Photoshopped.
Yeah. I've seen people set up fake servers, all that sort of stuff to represent real money through certain apps. And there's a lot of people getting ousted. When I started in the teaching space 3 years ago, no one wanted to hear me. We're in the back end of a bull market. We're going in the bear market. Now every other sponsored post on my Instagram feed is someone wanting to teach crypto. Yeah. So look for the people that have been around for a while.
And what makes you different to other gurus?
I have a real focus on transparency, like I've mentioned, but helping. I've got a genuine interest in making sure that if you want to break the 9 to 5, let's do that. I do have a client who wanted to learn how to do it because he wanted to spend his time in Bali surfing every day. So we set him up a knowledge-based system where he can do that, and in 6 months he achieved that. Yeah. All he had to do was make 10% every day on $2,500. Really not a big of an investment, and he does that every day now using liquidity pools, and $250 a day US in Bali. That's more than enough to live.
Yeah, you're doing backflips.
Yeah, that's right. You're enjoying good food and a good place. So he's happy to do that for the rest of his life now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Where can people go to learn more and join you on their crypto journey to escape the known?
Yeah, so you can find me online through Facebook. There are a lot of scam pages, so go look at, ask questions. I'll always respond to you, but I'll even jump on calls.
So just to clarify though, it's Stewart Crown on Facebook?
Stewart Crown on Facebook, yeah.
I'd love to know, who would you like to see on the podcast next?
Mate, get Tate on here. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
That's next.
It'd be an interesting one for sure.
Look, I'd love to see, some of the entrepreneurs we're seeing coming up in the space. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out. That's a bit of a disadvantage to where I am now in New South Wales. There's not many entrepreneurs, whereas where we are here, out in this area where we're filming, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. They've got that mindset, which is good for growth. But look, anybody who is willing to help people grow, that's what I want to see. They're not in it for themselves. They've got a genuine interest on, enriching people's lives. That's what I want to see.
All right, well, Stuart, it was awesome chat to you. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Stewart Crown, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, please make sure to chuck us a follow. We've put a lot of effort in the last week, especially. This is our 5th guest for this week. So please chuck us a follow. We don't ask for much. We've put a lot of time and effort into getting this set up, and it takes a lot of time out of our day. We could talk for hours, but we love to provide as much value back to you guys. So chuck us a follow, reach out, and we'll see you at the next episode.